Welcome back to the TMF Daily Podcast. I'm fired up about today's topic because we're really talking about something that doesn't always get the spotlight it deserves, but it's absolutely critical to the success of every clinical trial. I'm talking about the Delegation of Authority Log, the DOA log, or it's also called the site signature sheet. And now I know some of you might be thinking, Nicole, it's just another document. But I'm telling you something. It's not just another document. It's about the leadership, accountability, and ensuring that your trial operates at the highest level of integrity. So stick with me because by the end of this episode, you'll probably be fired up too. But you'll not only understand what the DO log is, but you're also going to see how it can set you apart as a professional in the TMF space. So let's break down the Delegation of Authority Log, or the DOA log. It's essentially who's doing what in the clinical trial, right? Here's the deal. The principal investigator, or the PI, they're ultimately responsible for the trial. That's outlined in our 21 CFR Part 312.53. The PI owns the trial's success and compliance. But let's be real. No one can do it all, right? That's where the delegation comes in. The DOA log, it's where the PI, they're going to formally delegate the trial-related tasks to qualified team members. It is not just a who's who in the trial. It's that record of accountability, tracking who's authorized, who's qualified to perform these specific tasks and when. And it's not just a thing that goes on in the US either. So we got ICH GCP E6R2 and section 4.1.5, right? It's clear the PI can delegate tasks, but the buck stops with them. The DOA log is their way of saying, I trust you to do this, and here's proof you're qualified to handle it. So why should you care about the DOA log anyways? So this document, it's going to ensure that everyone knows exactly what their role is. There's no confusion. There's no stepping on anybody's toes. Both the FDA and the EMA, they will zero in on this log during an inspection. It's their way of confirming that tasks were performed by qualified individuals. Inspection readiness. All right, just imagine you're in an FDA audit and they ask, who was responsible for verifying this informed consent form? If your DOA log is solid, you can point to it with confidence. And here's the thing, a well-maintained DOA log, it's really your safety net. It's what ensures that every step of your trial, it's traceable, verifiable, and defensible. All right, so now let's talk about how can I make my DOA log rock solid? So ICH GCP, section 2.8, it's clear. Team members got to be qualified by education, training, and experience. So you can't just assign tasks randomly and just be like, hey, you look like you're bored. Go do this. Doesn't work that way. So make sure the person's really up for the challenge. They're qualified, education, training, and experience. You got to be specific. Don't just say data entry. Detail it, like entering patient-reported outcomes into the electronic data capture system. You want to be really clear on the task and audit proof. Now, here's the tricky one, especially if you're like on the sponsor or CRO side trying to get that DOA log. Is it current? And how do I get the documentation if it's been updated, right? So it's not a one and done document. People leave, people come, roles change, new tasks come up. The DOA log has to be updated like immediately when something shifts like that. No ifs, ands, or buts. Get it updated. All right, training. Every delegated task should align with documented training. Regulators, they're going to want to I'm talking too fast today. You guys got me so excited. Regulators, they're going to want to see that your team members, they just weren't assigned tasks, okay? They were prepped to perform them literally at the highest standard, the highest level. When they walk in, they're feeling confident that they can do that task. So what are some of the common things that you see that go wrong with the DOA log? Well, I see these things all the time. It's outdated, right? Regulators hate this too. Like if your DOA log isn't current, it's like big red lights right there, spotlight. You're going to have a lot of questions. It's going to open up a can of worms. Like just update it, get the documentation in, put it in the TMF, keep it current. Vague assignments, like don't leave room for interpretation. Like vague roles are going to lead to mistakes, and mistakes lead to findings. And missing signatures. Every delegation needs to be signed and dated by the PI and the team member. No exceptions. End of discussion. So these mistakes, they're avoidable, but only if you take the time to do it right. So here's the biggest takeaway from today, right? The DOA log. It's really about leadership, if you think about it. It shows how you, as the PI or the study lead, is managing your team. It's about setting those clear expectations, holding people accountable, and ensuring that every task is performed by the right person. And in a clinical trial, every decision, every task, every document matters because it all leads back to patient safety, data integrity. So ask yourself, is your DOA log a reflection of your commitment to excellence? If not, it's time to step up. You got to level up. All right, TMF Elite, that's a wrap for today. The Delegation of Authority Log, it might not seem very exciting, but it's important. The regulators, they're going to ask for it. No ifs, ands, or buts. They're going to look at the DOA log. So if you're in the TMF space, take a real hard look at how you're managing your DOA log. Are you treating it with respect? Are you using it to lead with integrity and precision? If this episode added value to your journey, do me a favor, subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who needs to hear this. Let's raise the bar in the TMF and just make our excellence the golden standard. Thanks for listening to the TMF Daily Podcast. Until next time, I want you to stay accountable, stay compliant, and let's go.